Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's episode of Dungeons & Dragons Horror Stories, we have a few tales of just general goofiness and stupidity in some tabletop RPGs. But first, I would like to just take a moment to thank all of you that watch and like my videos. The channel is getting so close to 10k subscribers, and that just blows my mind. So if you aren't already, I hope I can earn your subscription today so that goal can be reached. What do you think of that, Lucky? Thanks, Lucky. Remind me after the video and I'll give you a squeezy treat. Anyways, with all the gushing out of the way, let's get right into these tales of stupidity. Random PvP, Blue Swords, and Quantum Mechanics. Let's talk about Rex. By Reddit user Bitter Instinct. It's my first post, so apologies for formatting or whatever. I found this sub through the usual YouTubers, Crit Crab, Den of Drake, Illuminati, way back in the day. One of these days, I'll make it onto one of these lists. Anyways, let's talk about my first problem player, who we'll call Rex. This story took place in high school around 2016 to 2017. And maybe 2018 too. Not that it matters too much. The players are Rex, the problem player, played a Triton fighter. Grant, chill guy, played a human barbarian. Metal, future problem player but fine back then, played an elven cleric. Shannon, also a future problem player, playing a tiefling sorcerer. Patsy, our fourth and final future problem player, played a half-elven druid. I started playing D&D in 2016, with my first game being DM'd by Rex, with Grant as the only other player, and early on, there was clear signs of him being a problem player. DMPCs, making his character a badass who could rally everyone to his side instantly, rampant sexual assault jokes, etc. But I overlooked them, because I was so desperate to get into the hobby. So after moving lunch tables, I started up a game with my new friend group, with the players listed above. I was asked to run a game based on the first season of The Adventure Zone by Metal, and I was into it. I quickly binged the show to get the idea, and we went into character creation soon after. Rex's character, named Dadass, thanks Emily at Fantasy Name Generators, was interesting on paper. A pompous Triton prince sent up to the surface world by the king to make political alliances. He always kept his nose turned up and felt an unshaken pride in his people. The problems with his character arose very quickly. Rex decided that his character should be incredibly bigoted, scoffing at the idea of befriending surface dwellers, and declaring that the plot of the game was foolish. An hour into session 1, the players had chased a knight into a cave, and in the chaos of the fight, a hidden alcove was opened, revealing a mithril greatsword. Grant's character, who fought with a greatsword, was immediately interested, and made a move for it. Rex, whose character fought with a halberd, asked a single question about the weapon. Rex, mithril is blue, right? Me, yeah. Rex, okay, I'm going after the sword. It's blue and so am I. Yeah, it was blue, and therefore, he wanted it. I let them roll for who got there first, and Grant's character made it there. Hooray. Though, Rex decided that he and that sword were destined for each other, and so he attacked the barbarian, successfully taking her out. But as an act of God punishment, I ruled that the sword had bonded with Grant's character, preventing it from being stolen. Rex scoffed at this, but ultimately relented. A few sessions later, the party were sent on their first mission, where Rex decided to do some anti-party actions. He stole Metal's shield and attempted to throw it off the side of the airship they were on, and then tried to sabotage the party's escape pod by stabbing arrows into every seat. As a side note, it's around this time where, in between missions, Rex decided for his character to start studying quantum mechanics, since he was sick of having an 8 intelligence and wanted to flex his real-life GigaChad brain and talk about white holes. I can only excuse my behavior of allowing all this by stating that I was a new DM at the time and had 45 minutes per session, so there wasn't a ton of time to take issue with his behavior. On a future mission, several sessions later, Rex's character refused to check his weapon on a train and had to be snuck on through a character's extra planar ring. In an admittedly hilarious move by Metal, Rex's character was kept inside the ring for the entirety of the mission because he's unhinged. Rex took this in stride in game and role-played out his slow descent into madness of the blank void within the rift. Out of game, Rex PM'd me with ideas for Dadass eventually becoming the BBEG. He wanted to start undermining the party and pick them off one by one in their sleep. I shut this down and asked that he not try and hijack the plot, which he shrugged at and agreed in saying, quote, "It's whatever, I've been in games way more serious than this." After this, we had an in-game time skip of about 3 months, where everyone in the party had solo adventures. Grant took up bare-knuckle boxing. Metal's character attempted a jailbreak. Patsy's character visited her homeland and ended her engagement with a foreign dignitary. Shannon's character had a lusty affair with a prince, and Rex led an inspired rebellion of hobgoblins against a Mero and Saugan army. These adventures took place over Discord chat and were public for everyone to see. And seeing this, Grant had enough. He called Rex out for his character being inconsistent and annoying to the detriment of the game. When Rex fired back with the trademark problem player saying of, quote, "It's what my character would do," Grant shot that down with, quote, "You control Dadass, Rex, change his behavior." At this point, Rex became insecure and started saying that his character acted out because everyone hated him first. Patsy claimed her character was just scared of Dadass. Metal said that Rex was lying, and Grant said that he didn't want Rex to leave, just to adjust his behavior, even suggesting a late-night scene between their characters to hash things out. But Rex refused. He refused to accept any fault in the problem, and blamed the other players, me, and society. Moments later, he left the server, and that game fell apart soon after. Rex left an impact on me as a DM. I grew to resent the things that he liked, and am genuinely slightly uncomfortable whenever I hear about a Triton PC. I know I should have taken a more active role in the problems he made at that time, but I was young, green, and awkward. If you've made it this far, I hope you don't make the same mistakes I did. And that if Rex finds their way into your game, or if you are Rex, just handle that better than I did. TLDR, high school game is ruined by Fishman Nerd constantly sabotaging the party and wanting to be an anime badass warlord, and I did very little to stop his rampage. My bad. Well, I don't think OP should be too hard on himself. He was in high school at the time, and knowing from experience, there are plenty of people like Rex at that age. Well, in adult life too, but that's besides the point. Hopefully, OP can find more sane tables to play at in the future. On to the next story. I fucked up, almost TPK, but they got away. Geese are evil. By Reddit user, Arcane Spellbook. So, I'm very obviously the asshole here. This is my first campaign, and we're almost done. Key players in this are Wizard, Cleric, and Druid. There was also a fighter, but he wasn't involved at this moment. All of them are level 12, and most of the campaign has been them steamrolling most enemies, because I let them have a lot of magic items, and I can't seem to balance encounters properly. A quick joke before I start the session. Quote, "Alright, where are my TPK dice? Oh, wait, that may have been the session after. That may have been the time I was pissed off due to other things, and said, I'm in a TPK mood today, not as a threat, and this was entirely an accident." So, they were in this village rooting out a cultist, and the main BBEG was uncovered and got away. Before they leave, they decide they investigate some weird messed up animals in the woods, which I chose to be geese. The stat block for them is an unspeakable horror, which I've used before in this same area. The only difference is how high I rolled for the number of them. I rolled a d8 and got an 8. Before it was 4 or 5 spiders or monkeys. Now it was 8 geese. Now, for those who don't know, the unspeakable horror, challenge rating 8, is in Ravnica, and has a magic hex ability and a modification for their melee attack that is chosen by a dice roll. The one I rolled for them was Petrification Hex, and the melee attack was Bone Blade, which had an increased crit range and would do triple damage on the crit. Now, rolling for initiative, we didn't really know how horrible this would be when they go first in line. The first goose uses Petrification Hex, and everyone fails their save but the druid. So they would be restrained, and needed to make a save at the end of their next turn or be petrified. They go in and dive bomb everybody. The druid gets knocked down to half health or lower if I remember, and the rest of them also get messed up by the damage. The total damage was 69. Nice. Now it's time for the wizard to go, and he casts some kind of fire tornado spell that I can't remember, and also pulls them in closer with a gravity ability. Then the druid goes, and he puts out the fire and tries to down the geese as they've already decided to bail. The cleric uses that teleportation spell they got to send them all back to the cleric's house, where he fails his save and turns to stone. But he gets fixed by his farmhand, necromancer buddy there. Cleric then uses divine intervention to wipe the geese out of existence, which plays out like this. Cleric's god, the god of life, calls up the god of death, and then they hear the screams of geese dying, as we all breathe a sigh of relief. The wizard checks up on his daughter, and the fighter, I think, left. His player said something about wanting to use his backup character. I don't know. TLDR, 8 challenge rating 8 creatures versus 4 level 12 party members is not going to end well, and I almost TPK'd my friends. Damn, I thought geese were already evil, but given the petrification abilities is a whole new level of nightmare. Like, just imagine that your friend Lassie and you are walking along and see geese, and he tells you that geese are awesome and love to play, so you go over there to say hi, and end up being chased as a whole lot of them tries to bite you. But this time, they can freeze you in place. Yes, Lassie, I still remember that, and I still don't forgive you. I will get you back, I swear it. But anyway, at least the party wasn't TPK'd and all that. Let's just, move on. One session, and I was out. By Reddit user, Tabletop Wars. I used to play D&D regularly with my friends, but due to life, our games ended. One of my friends invited me to a game he was playing with another group, so I decided to join, and oh boy, did it not go well. The existing group is currently in a cabin on a hill, and the session starts with my character walking towards the cabin. It is daytime, I am not sneaking, and my weapons are sheathed. As I am walking towards the cabin, one of the players says that he shoots an arrow at me. I give him a what the fuck look and ask if he's serious, and he says yeah. The DM, unfazed, asked him to roll, and it's enough to knock me out. I asked him why he did that, and he responded that his character didn't know me, and was being cautious. So I've been playing for 5 minutes, and am already unhappy, and warning alarms are ringing in my mind. When my character is revived, instead of attacking the archer, which is what I wanted to do, I let it slide. An hour into the game, and my character receives a letter that he's been invited to become an art professor at a prestigious university. His background was a sculptor, but I didn't think he was that good, you know, being only level 3 or so. This was bizarre, because my character would say yes at this opportunity, because it was too good to be true. But if he did accept, he would be out of the campaign. So I refused the offer. This wasn't a big deal, but I just didn't understand what the DM was trying to accomplish. Finally, as the party is walking through the woods with a local guide, we encounter a deer. The guide tells us that that's Jack, and that he is a famous and very powerful animal. At this point, the archer says, "I shoot it." I literally facepalmed and just asked why. The guide immediately begins to run away. After a round of combat, we deal minimal damage to the deer, who in turn takes the archer to less than half health. Second round, I run. I'm not gonna die because the murder hobo, who tried to kill me when we first met, can't stop trying to murder everybody he meets. On my friend's second turn, he ran as well, as the two of us followed the guide. The archer and other player died trying to kill Jack. On the ride home, I told my friend that I wouldn't be coming to the next session. He stopped going as well a few months later. So, a new player is invited to play, and the archer decides that the first thing he should do is shoot at OP. Sure, a random person walking through the woods could seem suspicious, but why would the first thing you do be to shoot at them? And then to shoot the deer after the guide said that it was famous in the area and very powerful. He was definitely displaying murder hobo behavior, and I don't blame OP for not going back. And by the sound of it, it didn't get any better, as OP's friend also left sometime after. Let's move on to the next story. Best of the Worst Gaming Nightmares by Reddit user Fuckaduck. 1. Visit a buddy that lives several hours away with the gaming group so he could join us in person for a guy's weekend. Girlfriend staged an intervention where she threw out all of our books, minis, and dice because we were letting the devil into our house. 2. Primary gaming group took a little break because of the previous story, so I start looking for a new group. A guy at work invited me to join his party. The first campaign was amazing, and the transition to the following one was going fine, until the DM decided that he didn't like money. Silver were 1/3 of a gold. Copper was 1/6 of a silver. The dwarves and elves each had their own money, with different exchange rates, and everything was fluid. I was playing a wizard, and after the third time of, well, the exchange today is a little on the soft side, so you don't have enough money to buy your spell components, I lost my mind. I asked him how we were supposed to know when the market changed. Things settled out, had an okay night of gaming, and I apologized to the DM afterwards for being rude, but I was frustrated. He told me there was no seat at the table for a bully, and not to come back. Number 3. Playing a zombie apocalypse homebrew with a group from college, with the premise of future us trying to fight out a way to a safe haven. I was in school for nursing at that point, and had worked in a busy level 1 trauma ED as a tech. I also did jiu-jitsu and boxing in high school, so I gave myself a little bump in strength and a little bit of a raise to my unarmed attack, but was mostly used as a heal bot. Character sheets were to be approved by DM prior to gaming, and everything is all good. The first session, the DM's girlfriend tried to seduce my character because we raided a small clinic for medical supplies and had some miscellaneous medications to help with my medical skill. I politely told her no, and the DM started the, quote, "What, you don't think my girlfriend is hot?" I tried explaining that I don't fuck other members of the party, and she was coming on to me. The DM asked for my sheet and proceeded to adjust down my stats and a lot of my skills because, quote, "I'm not as cool as I think I am." Number 4. My primary gaming group decided to get back together after the devil incident. I was working an 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. shift, so I would be late for the first session. I get out early and am heading to my buddy's house when I get a panicked call from the DM. He's screaming, "Get here now, there's blood everywhere," and then hangs up. He's very dramatic and likes to immerse his players, so I'm pretty sure that's what's going on. I get there, and our barbarian and our fighter have an argument about if you can perform a certain movement while sword fighting, and attempted to perform said movement with baseball bats in the backyard. Barbarian slipped and clobbered the fighter across the face. Blood was everywhere. Rob the fighter is passed out, and I end up calling 911 and heading right back to work, trying to explain it's a gaming session gone wrong. Well, these stories were different. I honestly wonder how the whole D&D is satanic viewpoint has survived since the 80s. I guess it's still out there here and there. And what was up with the whole money exchange rates and weird coin conversions? I would have gotten extra frustrated with that too, as it sounded overly complicated for no reason. Maybe that DM is just really into cryptocurrency or something. Then, the DM that lowered OP stats just because OP didn't want to boink his girlfriend in a fantasy game is also really fucking strange. How the hell are some people like this? Then, to top it all off, the baseball bat incident. Lucky for them, OP was a nurse. Do you have any stories involving dumb decisions in Dungeons & Dragons? If so, and would like it to be read on the channel, be sure to post it in the comments, on the channel subreddit, or even just at me on Twitter. As always, I really do appreciate all of you who watch and like my videos, and I'd like to thank you for helping the channel grow. Now, let's check up on Lucky. He really does love those things. Until next time.